Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Platform Podcast. As always, I am your host, Dex. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you go hit that subscribe button. If you're listening in on Apple Podcast or Spotify, give us a follow. Leave any comments in the videos, in the audio for the guest. Let me know who you want to see on upcoming shows and what you guys think of the show. We got to give a big shout out to Make It Now Media, our partner for the show. DJs, venues, if you're looking for those monthly flyers, a one-off graphic, new logo design, EPKs, any kind of graphic design work, Make It Now has got you covered. Hit them up. Use the code PLATFORM for a discount or just mention the Platform Podcast. They got you covered. Now, today on the show, I got a great DJ from Chicago, lives in Miami, awesome guy, traveling all around the world, DJing, killing the open format game. He also runs his own music production, DJ Academy, Wired Sound Academy out in Miami. He's here playing Barstool in Nashville tonight. We're sitting down with Crespo. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
You didn't skip a beat on that intro.
No.
That was awesome.
I like to, I think I got it down now. I mean, this is 37 episodes in, so.
Man, I love the platform. It's been an awesome show, dude.
I'm happy to have you on, man. You're going to have some good stories to tell with the experience that you've had in the DJ game, in the music game, and just kind of everything that you're doing.
Definitely.
Should have some insightful stuff for the DJs.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to cover a lot of things just from the open format DJ game and everything that you're doing in it.
Perfect.
Touring for a bigger artist, like you were touring for Jaden Smith, and then with Wired Sound Academy and kind of the things that you're doing with that.
Cool.
And just how you're dipping your hands into brands and businesses outside of DJing and expanding the revenues that you have.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
But first, get started, man. Let the listeners, let the viewers know just a little bit about you, where you're from, your story.
Yeah, my name's Daniel Crespo. Was born Chicago, North Side, and I lived there all the way till I was 6. Then my family relocated to Miami, so that was like a huge change for me when I was younger. Grew up most of my life in Miami. I would bounce back to Chicago once a month, maybe twice a month, to go see fam, enjoy the city. And what was cool about that was going back to Chicago, there was such a good influence of music on me, especially in the house music scene. Mm-hmm. Like 90s house, 90s dance, like La Bouche and all that stuff. So that was so cool to go between Miami, where there was such a huge Latin influence, and go back to Chicago with the house. So I had this really cool melting pot of being able to experience music in so many different cultures between the two cities.
Yeah, I mean, if you moved when you were 6, you basically grew up in Miami.
Exactly.
So how did you end up like getting ties back to Chicago and staying connected with people and then getting back into the DJ game out there?
You know, it was weird because when I moved to Miami, I never really thought music was like my future. You know, I was like, I got to go to school, maybe go to med school, figure out the most logical way. I was definitely one of those kids who was lost and had no idea what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time through middle school and high school in Florida trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it really didn't click until I got to college at Florida State. I went to Tallahassee up in North Florida. And I saw a couple DJs up there when I would go out to party. Mm-hmm. And there was one DJ, his name was Turk. He still is around, still DJs. And I was watching how he was using Serato at the time. Serato just came out. I was watching how he was manipulating 2 records, scratching, cutting, making mashups live. And I was like blown away by it. But also I had known music so well because I loved it that I was like, I could do this. So I begged my dad and my ex-girlfriend my girlfriend at the time to see if they could like buy me a pair of CD players for my birthday. Yeah. So my dad got me one, she got me the other. I bought the Vestax PMC 05 mixer. Yeah. And I would burn my own CDs and spend hours in my room trying to figure out how to get 2 records to mix.
And just working on blending them together.
And it took so long. Yeah. It took so long. The first blend together was like Nelly Grills. And I can't remember the other record, but once I figured out how to beat match the intros, the intro with the chorus, it was like this huge light bulb went off. And ever since then, I've just been addicted to mixing music.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier now with everyone just already having intro edits made.
Exactly. That back then there was none.
You had to do it the hard way and just kind of learn yourself. So
the only record pool around was maybe Crooklyn Clan.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talked a little bit about just like the differences between Chicago and Miami. Obviously, Miami Music Week was last week now.
Yep.
So coming off of that, I mean, you still have a huge dance and house music scene in Miami now.
Yep.
But then you get a melting pot out there too. So you're getting Latin, you're getting hip hop. There's a lot of big time like ballers out there where you're getting athletes, artists, all that kind of stuff too.
Yep.
How are you kind of mixing everything together in Miami to please the crowd every night?
It's tough, man, because when I left Tallahassee to come down to Miami, I came with this style of college DJing. Mm-hmm. So at the time, EDM was so big and high energy music was really popular. Avicii, Swedish House, Steve Aoki. When I did come down, I started to play some rooms that people put me in as favors, and I bombed them. I would
really
tank them. And so I realized quickly that Miami was a whole different animal. You know, they've kind of fed me to the wolves. When I got down there, I was playing my style and people would start leaving. I would get kicked off the decks. Different things that like were very discouraging, but also moments which I think many DJs face, where it's like a fight or flight thing. You know, are you going to get better? Are you going to go study what everybody's doing? Or are you going to kind of be like, this isn't for me?
Yeah.
And Konflikt, DJ Konflikt, was a huge pioneer in this industry down there, and really also such a pivotal person in DJ culture to me. He took the time to let me know, like, hey, he didn't have to do this. It's like, hey, there's some things that I would have done differently. He didn't tell me you were terrible, you sucked, nothing. And he took some time to really tell me like about Miami and how things are tough. I mean, you have crowds who are spending $20,000-$30,000 on a table, and they want to hear their song right away, no matter what genre you're playing. There's a lot of Latin influence. I came from college where no one really listened to reggaeton at the time. So coming down to Miami was a big shock for me. And I will say, I think out of any market, Miami is probably one of the toughest to play.
Yeah.
Because there's so much at stake. There's so much money being spent, and there's so many celebrities or people who think they deserve the world and their attention. So it was a tough one. And I really respect Konflikt, and he's my brother for life because he took the time to help me be better.
Yeah.
And I hope more DJs do that nowadays, because
especially guys like him that are like veteran DJs that are they've paved the way for themselves. Everyone knows who they are. They're talented. Like, they don't necessarily need to go and help other people. No. And a lot of those older DJs and like OG guys are oftentimes like stereotyped as they don't do that.
Yeah.
Like they won't want to help.
They don't want to help. And
exactly.
It's why I really respect him and what you're doing and what other DJs are doing, because it's about pushing culture. And I think, yes, it's good to be competitive, but also like we're only as good as we are as like DJs as a unit, you know, in a sense of, I see young DJs all over Miami now doing the same thing I was doing, and I feel so inclined to tell them and help them because of what someone did for me.
And I mean, that's a perfect little segue, because that's what you are doing now. I mean, you guys started up Wired Sound Academy, which is an awesome music production and DJ academy where people can actually come in and get on decks, and they can practice, and they can learn, and they can learn how to produce and do all this kind of stuff. I mean, is that kind of where the idea branched from, is just wanting to help these younger DJs? Very
much so. And I also woke up at one point and saw DJing moving in a direction that like kind of worried me. Okay. It was like about influencing and likes, and you know, at one point I was the DJ who a promoter put on because I had a big following, and I wasn't very good. I wasn't doing the job I needed to. And I took the time to go back and learn and study rooms and see what the big guys were doing, practicing, downloading music. And I saw this younger generation that was coming up not doing that. It was just like, I want to bring my controller, put it on top of the turntables, and I want to put my hands in the air and rock. And I felt a need to like help push culture, the DJ culture, into the space that I think it deserves to be in.
Yeah.
So when I met Landis, my business partner, we had been working together for years, and we were always like, we should teach stuff. We should teach DJing, and he's a great producer. And an opportunity fell into our hands pre-COVID to open a school because we had a space that we were going to use pretty much for free for a little bit. And we're like, this is a good place to start the concept. And the goal was really to take the skill of DJing, combine it with how we found success in the space, and provide it to someone in a quick format.
Yeah.
Because for you and I, it probably took 5-6 years to get to where we wanted to be. I wanted to speed that process up for everyone and also show them that you have to put the work in.
Yeah.
So that's where the school came about.
Because what do you guys offer? Music production, and then it's DJ lessons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So we have advanced and regular music production, and then advanced and regular DJ courses too.
And what are like the course timelines looking at, where if you're talking about getting it to them quicker and kind of getting them right into it instead of taking 5-6 years to learn how to do this stuff?
Yeah. Each module is a month long. It's pretty intensive. Crash course, 3 days a week, 3 hours.
Yeah.
But the goal is in between that is to teach you the skill. And then when you're done, we're partnered with venues that I book at, that Landis books at. And the goal is to put these students into real life experiences.
Yeah.
To get that, how to read a dance floor. Sometimes how to get kicked off the deck so you can get better. And so we were partnered with that. That's a really good part of our model. And then with Landis, he has record labels. So the producers who produce music already have access to record labels to release their stuff. So yeah, it's quick. It's a 1-month course. And then if you want to move into advanced, another month.
Okay.
So if you want to take the full gamut, 2 months.
Yeah.
Crash course. And we like to say that we keep it in the family. Like once you're done, you're able to be at the school, hanging with us, come into our gigs.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good idea, man. Yeah, I took it actually over COVID, and I had just like one-on-one with Landis, just with over like a video conference.
Yeah.
And in the time that I took that course, I learned so much. And looking back at it now, like I get so frustrated with myself because I feel like I didn't apply enough of like the learning for it. Because especially with music production, like I feel like you have to be doing it every day to get better and better at it. And it's like if you don't do something for a month, it kind of is going to get away from you.
For sure. Producing music is something that you have to do every day.
Yeah.
It's because if not, you lose it. And then it's hard to find that flow again.
Yeah. And he's super talented. Like you said, he's got his record label. He's got Fresh Squeeze. And then obviously doing so much stuff for Hexagon, for Don Diablo's label. Yeah. He's just kind of always putting music out. He'll be here tomorrow too, so that'll be another person that I get to link up with and listen to play. So that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, dude,
you've been putting out great edits, like, and I'm sure it's like helps with your podcasting. Yeah, I mean, even making mixes, everything.
Yeah, that's something that I'm trying to work on a lot. And then obviously here being in Nashville, like, when we moved out here, like Maddie got into school, she's doing her master's program. I started looking around when we were here because I was like, fuck, man, we're in a music-centered city.
Right.
They have all these schools that are centered around the music industry. And I started looking at some of them, and that's why I went back to school, is strictly to try and progress as a DJ and as a producer and start learning that kind of stuff. So
definitely.
Dirty Darren and I have been putting out a couple. The last one that we put out has had a awesome reaction for it. So yeah, and then we just got to keep putting.
Do I get to play it tonight, or I'm kidding? No, I'm kidding.
I told Kays last week. I'm like, play it, man. Like,
I'm kidding.
Because if he went on midnight to close. I'm like, man, I'd rather have it played at that like peak hour and let it rip. So then I can sit back there and take a video of it and get all the reactions. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, man. And like the thing about Wired too was the goal with everything was to really make sure that we didn't end up with a culture in South Florida of DJs that just wanted to be. It wasn't just based around ego, which because DJing can very much quickly be about that.
Yeah.
It's really about the music and making people dance and the art of it. And then, you can put a little bit of your ego into it. But my biggest piece of advice to my students is when you first start, and even when you get to where maybe I'm at, you always have to check that ego, because there's times where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this room. But then you have to remind yourself, like, we get to play music and do this for a living. And we've been chosen to do this and accepted by that. How could we ever not want to do that? And
it's like the majority of the time you're getting paid really well to do it too.
Exactly.
So it's like you have a fun job. You're around most of the time fun people. You're just listening to music and playing music and getting paid to do it. Like it's crazy.
And DJing is such a cool exchange of energy. You know, you play a song or transition to records and get this energy back. And I always tell people, like, it's the ultimate drug for me. Yeah. Because you can't replicate that feeling, you know?
Yeah, the endorphins that you get from looking out on a dance floor and seeing like a oh shit reaction right when you drop something is amazing. Yeah. It's awesome.
I love that part of it. Yeah. So I try not to never ever take it for granted. Yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of success stories have you guys had as of now, like through Wired?
We've had some really big students come through now. One of our biggest right now is one of my close friends, Ambrose. He is on tour with Gordo right now all across the world, releasing music with his label. And what's really cool to see is that, you know, he had no clue how to DJ or produce. He's taken both classes now. And it really is like the evolution of what you're doing as a DJ or producer. You have to invest in that. Mm-hmm. And so he took the time, came off tour for a little bit. And I feel like that's such an important thing that like we can forget. You know, we get lost in the drinking and the girls or the party. And 3 years go by and you're like, wait, I'm still here in the same place, you know? So I think it's so important to evolve and always keep that like future mindset of what's happening for you.
What kind of like future goals do you guys have for Wired? Because I know obviously right now, like speaking of Konflikt, he just started up his own agency. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you guys are looking toward like in the future?
Yeah, so right now we're working on building Wired 2.0. It's a huge space, 5,000 square feet, like huge space. Damn. Hopefully, if we get that space. If not, there's a 2,000 square foot. But what we're really trying to do is have multiple recording studios, podcasting studios, live stream studios, on top of more classrooms because we're kind of on wait list with a lot of people who want to sign up. So Wired 2.0 is coming. We're going to teach more music theory, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then our goal right now is to open an agency for the students who come through and want to sign with us. And we place them at venues that we are in close contact with. Yeah. Which is cool.
That's awesome. That's literally sounds exactly like what I'm trying to do here. I've been looking at properties here, just trying to find a spot to open up like a studio to have hopefully some people teach at and be able to have DJs come through and learn some stuff from, but then hold all of Darren's shit for his events too, and then be able to book everything out of.
There's so many streams, right? Yeah. Events, all that too.
Yeah, so it'd be dope. So
yeah, man, and that's cool because you could really build the culture out here.
Obviously, now you go back to Chicago a lot. You're always at like Tunnel. I know previously you were playing at Bounce. Yep. And then you're in Miami. You're out here now. I'm assuming you probably go out to a bunch of other cities to play. New York, everywhere
Vegas,
else too. Yeah. You're in Vegas all the time now too because you got a residency out there now. Yeah. How do you kind of prepare your sets in these different cities? And how do those markets differ in those different cities when you're talking clientele, when you're talking music, everything like that?
That's a great question. Perfect example is like when I go to play in New York, I'm definitely looking probably towards a little bit more of a hip hop driven set. Mm-hmm. If it's a certain venue that's more house driven, you know, I'll prep that way. But New York's very hip hop heavy. They love their hip hop. Then when I come to Nashville, you know, I knew that this is a big country music town. So the EDM, all that stuff, even regular old classic like cuts like Shania Twain stuff, I knew that like I could have fun here. So, and then when I go to Vegas, it's like this high energy electric scene where you come out of the gates swinging, you know, hard. And then in Miami, I'm prepping more Latin, Afrobeat, Caribbean style. And that's really the part where I try to keep crates in my Serato of regions, right? So I have Bay Area, I'll have Miami with like booty bass and then Latin and all kinds of the Miami places. Then here I'll have a lot of country divided up. So I kind of like try to keep a creative regional music so that when I do come to these places, I have a little bit of an idea of where I want my set to flow.
You're not having to dig as much through Serato. You have it prepped a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I've kind of like, I guess that's the one benefit of playing on the road is after you prep a few times, it's a little less nerve-wracking to come into a room or a new city because you know what you played last, and you know kind of what the music is, what's driving the music in each place.
So talk about that a little bit, because that's always one thing that I kind of wonder. Personally, for me, I hate playing a spot that I haven't been to previously.
Yeah.
So for you, I feel like that probably happens a lot, where you're playing a room that you haven't necessarily even been in.
Definitely.
You haven't heard anybody play. You haven't even walked through the venue at all. So how do you kind of mentally prep for that?
You know, Nashville was a good example because my first time playing Barstool was New Year's Eve weekend.
Yeah.
And I'd never been here. I didn't know many people either. I knew you and Dirty Darren. And so it was really cool because I tried to link with a close friend that's a DJ or knows the music scene, and grab lunch, chat, and kind of get an idea of what works, what doesn't. And to me, I have so much respect for you guys because you do that stuff with open arms. And I think DJs should do that because it's so important. Like, go to New York and I'm like, what am I playing here? It's really good to understand who has their finger on the pulse in each city and to connect and help each other that way.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot because Darren was like, look, we love country music. We love EDM. And I was like, EDM? What is this?
That was your first time hearing of it?
Yeah. Kind of. Like, I've heard the Morgan Wallen mashups and stuff.
Yeah.
But as I've dug through more music, and even Darren gave me some, I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, like, I can get a better feel of what Nashville's about.
Yeah.
And so that helped because it was kind of nerve-wracking. I was like, what do I do?
No, that's what I'm saying. If you go to a room where you're like, I don't know what these people like, it's like you got 10, 15 minutes to figure it out.
Yep.
Or it's kind of all downhill from there. So,
yeah.
And that's especially something that I will always do. I always think it's crazy when DJs come to another city and like don't even try and hit up other DJs in the city. Like, I'll even have people that I like know of as DJs and they'll follow me, and then they'll come out here and still like not even hit me up. And I'm like, I just think it's weird. So
yeah, and I think that's the important part, right? Like, there's only so many DJs in the city, and it's so important, like, with what we're doing to network across that platform, that it's almost like a first thing I do.
Yeah.
You know, like, when this date was booked, I was like, yo, Dex, we got to do a podcast, or let's do something.
You hit me up right away to connect, which I love, man. Because when I see people on the schedule, I'm like, cool, I'll reach out and I try and connect with them right away.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even if it's just going out, grabbing lunch, grabbing dinner before the gig, and just shooting the shit, talking, getting a little bit of info about the scene and kind of what people like.
Definitely.
You're always going to get help from the people that are living there. They got their boots on the ground and they're listening to the shit every day. So
exactly.
It's dope.
Exactly. Because it's like, how do I know what Barstool's like without anyone giving me any insight?
Yeah.
You know? So
you can guess a little bit, but it definitely helps to get a little help. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For you, I mean, you were tour DJ for Jaden Smith. Is that something that's still going on right now?
No. Jaden and I have kind of taken a break. We're still really close friends, but the tour life for me was tough. I loved it for the first year. The first year we did a tour with Fall Out Boy.
Okay.
And Black Bear, which is so cool because I'm a huge Fall Out Boy fan.
Yeah.
And it was such an eclectic mix of talent, right? Like Jaden and Fall Out Boy. But Jaden at the time was doing like hip hop and rock, like a fusion. And that was my first time ever doing massive arenas. Like, we did Madison Square Garden, TD Garden in Boston.
Yeah.
Like, all the big arenas that like I've always dreamed of being in. The Forum in LA, just like legendary spots. And that was really cool experience because I got to understand how to run Serato DJ and video, because I was running his video from the DJ turntables.
Really?
It was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I would be just nervous about like the computer having the CPU power when you're in the middle of an arena. Like,
I have a story. I have a good story of that. But yeah, touring with Jaden was awesome. It taught me so much of what tour life is like, from hotel to tour bus to venue for sound check to catering to eat to on stage to repeat. And it was a really cool experience for 34 dates, but that started to take a big toll on me.
Yeah.
You can only sleep on a tour bus bunk for so much, be away from family for birthdays and graduations and girlfriends, all that stuff. Girlfriend.
Fucking ratting on yourself.
But yeah, it was really cool because it taught me how to be on point, punctual, prepared. You can't mess up an arena.
Yeah.
That is probably the most nerve-wracking thing in the world. But there's we were in Cleveland, Ohio, and doing a show, and I literally, my MacBook Pro at the time, it was fully loaded, it was pretty stacked, but I was running 4K videos straight to the LED screens that are massive, and the audio.
Yeah.
So we did some routines where Jaden would start rapping, I would cut the beat, and as I'm cutting, my laptop crashes. I get the
Oh no.
beach ball of death
Yeah.
on the Mac, and I am freaking out. Jaden's looking at me, and all of a sudden, I'm like 1 minute silent. Jaden's just talking, trying to clear it up, and I hear this hum, and it's Kid Cudi, who's close friends with Jaden. He comes out in Cleveland, Ohio,
yeah.
and starts humming, does the Kid Cudi hum, and then the whole place is going wild, and it literally gave me the 2 minutes I needed to reboot,
Yeah.
plug back in, and together they were just hyping the crowd, and I dropped Jaden's biggest song, and it was like it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But it was nuts because I had never met Kid Cudi at the time.
See, and that's nuts that he would know like what's going, like he can sense what's going on. He's like, oh shit, something's fucked up out there. This is the time for me to go and jump out there and like help the crowd.
Exactly. So it was really cool to see that part too. But at the time, I think we probably should have ran video from front of house.
Yeah.
It was all new for us. It was a big learning curve. I actually was able to teach Jaden some performance cues from DJing, using the mic, getting people to take their cell phone lights out, the feedback, call and response stuff. So we built a really good bond on that trip and that tour. And then we moved on to the next tour was J. Cole, Young Thug, which was a whole different energy. And that's when Young Thug got arrested.
On tour,
halfway through the tour.
Okay.
Luna. And that was cool too, but that's where I really stopped after that one. It really just took a toll on me. And I was giving up a lot of club momentum. I was taking
because then you just don't
gigs.
have time to be able to take the gigs that you were taking prior.
Yeah. Wasn't producing any music. It was literally all about tour life. And it was a great experience, but it was a lot on the body, the mind. And I think it took a little bit away from what I was doing. And I woke up one day and was like, you know what? I want to get back to what I love and rocking dance floors and stuff like that.
I mean, I feel like what you're saying is taken away from you personally in the DJ life. Like obviously in your personal life, it's taken away from you and having the time. You're basically spending so much time on tour.
Yeah.
You're not able to take the time to go and run to these gigs. Even if you're doing afters at a gig, who knows if you even have time for that or if you got to get back on the bus and go to the next city.
Yep.
But then, I mean, it also probably has got to help you where it's like name-wise and recognition-wise, you can put the label of like, oh, I was the tour DJ for these tours, and I'm sure that part has to help with some of the bookings.
For sure.
But then if you're
Definitely
away from DJing for 3 months, 6 months, where you're only doing these tour gigs, then it kind of takes away the buzz.
Momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I will say that was like one of the peaks of my career. As taxing as it was also so awesome to be in front of that many people playing the opening music. Then Jaden would come on, and to be in these venues to see like all these people in Madison Square Garden. It was like my prayers had been answered as a kid to be like, wow, I could perform in these venues. It wasn't necessarily about me, but I'm just happy to be a part of that show. Which is cool.
That's something you can knock off the bucket list. Where growing up, I mean, you would never think like, I'm going to DJ in front of 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden.
Exactly. Never in my life.
And then to be there doing it has to be crazy. How did the tours, I mean, obviously your first tour, you're talking Fall Out Boy and Black Bear, who are more like rock alternative. Black Bear does a lot with like hip hop stuff too. But then to go from that to then J. Cole and Thug.
Yeah.
How does your music change stylistically, set-wise, from tour to tour?
Completely different. I was playing very much of like a open format punk rock kind of set with Fall Out Boy. And straight into that KOD tour, it was completely different, like New York style hip hop. Atlanta, South, dirty South hip hop. Completely different, but that's what I love about open format DJing. It's we know how to mix everything. So
I feel like it's got to help you musically too, where it's like you're digging for more shit on one tour, on the other tour. It's just completely changing how you're gonna look for stuff too.
Yeah.
Are you different dynamically from tour to tour? Like, are you on the mic more in the hip hop tour?
Yes.
Okay.
10 times more probably.
Yeah.
I feel like hip hop's so mic driven, especially nowadays. So it's necessary, that call and response, making sure people know you're there. Where with Fall Out Boy, these fans seem to be a little bit more into what I was doing up there than me speaking to them. So they would just dance and have fun. So it was a little bit different, but both were awesome.
No, that's definitely why I asked, because I would 100% think that they'd be different crowds that are going to react differently to different styles. So
yeah. Do you use the mic a lot? You try to?
It depends. I don't as much as I should. I'm not like uncomfortable using the mic. I'm totally comfortable using the mic. There's so many of my friends that like
do it.
They won't touch a mic.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% fine with using the mic. On nights like this is a perfect example. Like for me on a night like this, where it's like I'm opening up for you.
Yeah.
I a lot of the times like stray away from the mic because I don't know like how it looks for like the headliner. Like sometimes I'm like, man, I should get on the mic and like hype it up.
Right.
But then sometimes it's like, all right, I want to keep this energy for the headliner.
I feel that.
But yeah, if I'm on a night by myself, like last week, Saturday, I was on by myself and I'll get on the mic.
Yeah. I think it's necessary.
Yeah. Either way. Yeah.
But also it's like a feel too. That's why I love DJing. It's like whatever you're feeling in the moment. And I think the mic has become so much more important because people have ADD so bad now that it's like
30 seconds and they're not paying attention. Yeah.
You got to let them know you're there, like still rocking with them and stuff like that too.
Nashville's a really good crowd to get on the mic. They are very responsive and receptive to it.
Yeah.
Easy to hype up. I mean, obviously this is such a party city that people are just here to just go, go, go. And the responses that you'll get from just getting on the mic saying, who's out here with the bachelorette party tonight? Yo, if you're out here with your best friend tonight, make some fucking noise. Like that's the kind of shit that instantly you get a little bit of energy jolt right away. So it helps a lot for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's something that I personally think that I should do more. But
Landis hates it.
Yeah.
He hates the mic.
I think he told me about it. Yeah.
He's gotten better, but he hates it.
Yeah, I think he said that he got better when he started doing like TikTok stuff because he said he like hated his voice. And then he would like start to hear it more on TikTok, and he's like, "All right, like people don't care; they don't mind it." Yeah.
Now he has the confidence. It's just a confidence thing, and it's like speaking from here because I used to speak from here, and my voice would get like all cracky and stuff like that.
Fucking raspy on the mic.
Yeah, we teach mic work now at the school at YSL.
Really?
Yeah, because it's become such a pivotal thing in different cities like Vegas and Miami that mic work is such a big part of DJing now.
It's something you notice too, like. People that have a good mic voice, like you can tell.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, they sound really good on the mic. It's like a fucking radio voice or something like that.
Practice.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
What about on tour with you? What was your favorite spot that you guys hit? What was like the most memorable set that you had?
Oh, man, that's tough. That Cleveland, Ohio one I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's got to be awesome with Cuddy just popping out of nowhere.
That was actually probably it. And then, so Jaden's such a smart kid. He researches and learns so many things. So after the show, we were backstage and he has these fruits that you eat. It's like a dried fruit and it makes anything tart taste differently. So we were eating lemons, like biting into lemons. You eat this fruit and you could bite into lemons and they taste like the sweetest fruit in the world. So we're in the backstage.
Even though it's a lemon?
Yeah, there's pictures of us eating lemons. And everybody's like, what is wrong with you guys? And we're like smiling, laughing. We don't have the sour face on. And it was just like this cool experience. And we all got to bond that night and watch Cuddy do like a small show. So that was really cool because Kid Cudi is like one of my favorite artists ever. Like Man on the Moon will be a top 5 album for me. So that was like a cool, really starstruck moment for me, more than like hanging with Will Smith or anything like that.
Did you have any idea even prior that he was coming out? Like, does Jaden even tell you that?
They had discussed about Cuddy possibly coming to the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was no like 100%, yeah, he's coming out.
No
and then all of a
idea.
sudden he just pops out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be
nuts.
Wild.
Yeah. It was awesome. There's pictures all about it and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk a little bit about going from tour life to now back to open format DJing, just full blow, everything. You're just go for that.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the differences between that tour life and between the open format DJ scene? With obviously you're talking about touring, you were getting good at managing your time, being on that schedule, and now open format wise, I'm assuming you're booking out all your stuff yourself. You're not with an agency at all, so it's like you're handling everything. How are you managing that time, getting all these gigs booked, and then just keep building a name for yourself? It's
a tough balance, man. I mean, especially with having other businesses on the side, like the school and booking other DJs for venues. It really does come down to cutting out certain habits that were holding me back. So for a while I had to stop drinking. Drinking was a huge part of DJing for me. And no one ever told me that like I should stop. It was like, oh, this is part of your job, you know? And then 4 years go by and you've been downing tequila every night and you're like, why am I in the same place? And I've always wanted more. It's just, that's kind of how I've been built, is like, I want what's next. And there was a point where I woke up and I was completely burnt out. I was miserable. I looked like trash. And I was like, I have to make a big change. So I stopped drinking, and the amount of clarity, motivation, and health I found in that period was life-changing for me, to where even to this day, I still do like I was saying, I'll do 60 days off, 30 days on.
Yeah.
Because I still love drinking. And there's nothing better than like hanging with your DJ friends or your buddies from out of town or in town and having the best night ever, you know? But I think there's this idea around drinking, or maybe the stigma that like we have to do it to go out and have fun.
No, I've talked about it a bunch on here with so many other DJs too, where it's like, it's almost like it's a necessity in the service industry, whether you're a DJ, a bartender, a bottle server. It's like people always think, and especially when it comes to DJ, people always think like, oh, you're a DJ, you must be drinking, you must party, you must do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And to me, it's like when I stopped, people were like, are you going to be able to have fun? And I was like, is this what we're asking ourselves now? Like, it's crazy. So during that time, I would do things that were like kind of uncomfortable. I'd force myself to go to 11 at 4 a.m. and completely sober, have fun. And I had just as much fun. And I would wake up the next day, not have to recover, not be hungover, and I go straight to the studio.
Yeah.
And the amount of music I've been making, the level that the school's been going to, the residencies I've been working on and trying to crush have just grown.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that everyone needs to stop drinking, but I do think in a world where we're constantly in nightlife, it has to be discussed and brought to the forefront that like, it's not necessary. You don't have to do it. You know?
I agree 100%. I mean, like,
and control is good.
Yeah.
It's good because I didn't have it, you know?
I mean, I think mentally it drains on you too, especially. But yeah, I mean, just waking up hungover, you're just not the same person. You don't have the energy to go to the studio, to go work on music, to go to the gym, to get back in shape, like, or to stay in shape too. So
yeah. So that transition from tour life into hitting the road nonstop, I'm probably gone like 3 to 4 days a week traveling between Vegas. Vegas is really the one where I'm bouncing across a lot. I really had to like start taking it seriously. Like, this is the big leagues now when I got into Vegas, and I can't be blacked out during a set. I know many DJs who have lost their residencies from that, and that's not me. That's Vegas was always what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
So when I got into it, I knew that it was time to really take it seriously, start making remixes, edits, I mean, even content from a content standpoint. So on top of all this stuff, building the school and all that, it really is just comes down to making sure you're creating the time and not just, we get paid really well and we don't have to work 9 to 5. So it makes, my biggest thing was like, I can't just fuck off all day. You know, like, this is awesome. You've built this podcast. Like your mix series, like, you're consistent with all that. That's a very important thing in the world of DJing nowadays, because it's so easy to lose consistency. And when you do that, it's hard to evolve to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, the time that I take to put into that too, it's exactly what you're saying, where it's like, that's what I looked at, where I'm like, we don't have a 9 to 5. So it's like, what are you doing all day? Like for so many of these DJs, I'm like, what are you doing all day? You have the time to get on YouTube, learn how to produce. You have the time to figure this shit out.
Exactly.
And that's where, like, for so many years, I never did it. And I would just make up excuses where I'm like, oh, like, I'm not going to be able to figure it out or whatever. Whatever you have to tell yourself to, like, keep putting it off. And then finally when we moved here, I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm getting this shit done.
Dude,
I'm going to push myself to learn how to do it.
And look at all the things that are coming from it. You know, Stanton Bowery residency, like, that's huge. This is one of the biggest companies in nightlife right now, you know, and they're all over the world. And to have that trust, they trust in you. Like, that's the other part, is when you do put in that work and you are consistent and you're not just looking at it as like a party, the big milestones happen. And when they do happen, it's like that click goes off in your brain. Like, if I put this work in, I can get anywhere I want.
Yeah.
It's just about it's like, it's so easy to forget, because when we were younger DJs, it was like, that was the best party. I crushed it last night. The ego gets like so blown up, and it's like everybody loved it. Everyone's holding up the phones like, yeah. That, like, you're like, oh, you know, I'll take a break the next 2 days, or I'll go, you know, do nothing and be hungover. And that's okay. But I hope, you know, if there's one message that people could take away from us talking right now, it's like anything is possible if you look at what John Summit or like the biggest DJs in the world have done. It really is about understanding that you can get to where you want, but you have to really not get lost in the sauce and put in that time and be consistent. Yeah,
because for Vegas right now, you're at Tao, right? That's where the residency is.
Tao Marquee with Tao Group, but Tao Marquee.
Tao Group, Jewel. Yeah. And then now you're doing a couple times a month out there? Or?
Yeah, sometimes 3 times a month.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I got to get out there. I've been to Vegas once, and it was when I was not 21. We just went out there for like a trip, my brother and I, because my aunt lived in Newport Beach, and we just drove to Vegas. But
we got to plan.
I got to get out there. Next time you're out there, let me know. We got to plan a trip, man.
It's not too far of a flight for you too.
No,
it's easier.
Yeah, Nashville gets connected with everything too. So,
and Vegas is the pinnacle, man. The way they handle everything from front of house to hospitality to advancing to lighting and the whole production, they don't miss a beat. So when you're there, you're like, I can't miss a beat.
Yeah.
You know, it forces you. I thought Miami was the wolves. Vegas is the ultimate wolves, because there's even more money at stake there.
You feel the pressure a little bit more, where you're like,
yes, but it's more fun.
Yeah.
I will say Vegas is way more fun to play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's always popping. I feel like there's always a party. So
people are there to celebrate the best moments of their lives there.
Yeah.
You know, where
has going to like these other cities that it helped you branding yourself and kind of expanding your brand. Like, I know you're always working with Sincoro Tequila. You've done stuff for Nike, Google, all these other brands. You were just telling me about the water that you're partnered with as well too. Yeah. I mean, outside of DJing, how are you getting your hands into other stuff to just progress your brand even further?
Working with Jaden really showed me that as an artist, a DJ, or performer, you're so much more than just that. You really do influence people on a level that I guess maybe I didn't even know. So when I started working with some of the brands that Jaden worked with, I would DJ the Google parties or Netflix movie releases. It's the corporate scene, the brand driven scenes are so tight niche that if they hear one DJ that they love, they're loyal to that DJ for a long time.
Okay.
And so another light bulb went off during that time when I was working with Jaden, that I could make money not having to even be in a club. Some of these brands were like, you're a DJ. People follow you for what you do, your lifestyle. And for so long, I thought I was just a DJ. It's like, I play the music, I go home, repeat. And to be honest, like, that's complete opposite of what we are. We're influencing people on a massive scale. And that's something we can't forget, because in an average night, let's say at Barstool, there's 800,000 people. Those people have all eyes on you at one point of the night, no matter what.
Yeah.
And after that, they're like, that DJ was awesome. Or that DJ was drinking this drink. Or what was that tequila that came out? And visibility is such an important part of what we do. So these brands really are looking for influencers that can be in that space. And I think my biggest thing too is if you have a good brand, right? You're clean cut, you can present yourself to the brands that you want to work with. Like for me, it was Nike, Fendi, Google. I knew that I'd have to be in a place that I knew we both fit and meshed. So I don't think I was going to go work with like Harley Davidson motorcycles.
Yeah.
I don't have tats. I'm not the look. But there's brands that I know I would fit perfectly with. So Sincoro Tequila was one of them. And as a kid from Chicago, it's owned by Michael Jordan.
Yep.
I saw that as a perfect partnership. So I said, let's do it 100%. And then I've turned down partnerships, even if the money was crazy, because I'm a firm believer in saying no to things that don't align with who you are or what you do. So for me, when Red Stripe came along, I'm not a beer drinker. They offered a ton of money, but to me, it didn't make sense. It didn't fit my brand. I didn't know how to create content for it. So declined it. But with brands, I think the most important part is when I started to work with them, I realized these guys need DJs. They need music. They need people to influence the nightlife and entertainment scene. And I was like, how can I connect what I'm doing with the brand? So I really reached out to brands that I thought would be a perfect fit. So I'm always drinking water, the water company, NDO, that I work with. It's a perfect partnership, especially while I was sober. They have a huge health and gym message behind it. And I'm really big into being healthy right now and working out, hopefully forever.
Yeah.
But the brand space is a really cool one because once you're in, you can really start, other brands see it and you build brand momentum is what I call it.
Okay.
And more brands start to reach out. And then you get to kind of figure out which ones you want to say yes and no to. And there's a lot of money in the space.
Yeah.
Some you get paid just to post. You don't even have to go DJ anymore.
Yeah.
Some brands were paying me to make playlists, 4-hour playlists. And it's just so cool to see that like what we do with DJing can be transformed into other spaces as long as you're using your content and your platform to really push that.
Yeah, there's so many different avenues that you can take your skills.
Yeah.
And I think even outside of the brand world, that's something that I harp on all the time to DJs is take bookings that align with your brand too.
You have to.
I feel like there's so many guys, especially like younger DJs, that just want to take every gig they can get. Maybe they need the money. Maybe they just want to get their foot in the door. It's so important to me to take those bookings that do align with your brand, which is why I was so happy to get an exclusive deal with Barstool, with Stand and Bowery, because it fits my brand. Like that's the places that I want to play. The staff is all people that I want to work with, and the direction that they're going in the future is I know what I want to do. So that's a perfect example. Yeah.
I teach a branding class within the class at Wired.
Yeah.
As one of like the last courses, because really what I owe a lot of my success to as a DJ was the way I carried the brand. I knew that like if I wanted to be at the upper echelon, I had to start really thinking about how I wanted to portray the brand and where I wanted to be, and I would say no to a lot of stuff. Even if it meant me taking less money short term, I knew long term the vision would eventually get me to where I wanted to be. So that short term money that I turned down has turned into tenfold of long money.
Yeah.
And it was hard to do that, because as a DJ, you just want to play.
Yeah.
You want to make money. And I think when you're younger and first starting, it's okay. But as you build a name for yourself, you kind of have to be careful.
What sets you apart from other DJs, especially in the open format game?
That's a hard question because I don't want it to be like I'm better
conceited,
than
anyone.
Yeah. Because I don't feel that way. There's so many better DJs than me. But I also think that thinking of yourself as more than just the DJ, like I've been saying, because Dex is a brand. I don't look at you as just a DJ now. I look at you as you have the podcast, you have the mixes. And then when you start branching off in other pieces of content, like I do the Crespo in the kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, cookware companies have been reaching out to me. And so I think the most important thing for any DJ, this is like the most important piece of advice I can give a DJ, is it's good to take inspiration from other DJs and want to do what they're doing. But I never wanted to be like anyone else. I just knew that I was Danny in Crespo, and I wanted to build a persona and a brand that I knew people would love, but that it wasn't Tiesto. It was just me. And so I took the elements of what made me and kind of put that into the forefront. So I just really think it's more about not trying to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't want to be on an agency. I knew that I just wanted to be my own DJ. I didn't want to be a scam artist as much as I love all those guys and Sujit. I didn't want to be, you know, on any agency until I was ready, or maybe until I was making my own music.
Or making your own agency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I like to handle my relationships personally with clubs and bookers, because I have had moments where it's backfired, because I like to represent myself in a friendly and calm, cool way. And sometimes it's hard in the industry. Had some backfires. I'll tell you those off camera.
Let's talk about anything. So club wise, bar wise, obviously how long have you actually been DJing now?
I'd say about 15 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in those 15 years, what's the favorite spot that you've ever played? Whether it's a club, festival, an event, what's your all-time favorite memory DJing?
There's nothing like a festival. I did EDC Las Vegas last year.
Yeah.
It was life-changing for me because festivals are just such a different type of energy. Everybody's there to see you and what you've got, and it's an hour of just rapid fire. So it was really cool to play a lot of the new music and remixes I've been working on. And then this is probably the most unforgettable show. I did a show in Paraguay for Life in Color. Do you remember Life in Color? It's a paint party.
Oh, okay.
So it was this huge festival back in the day during when EDM was really popping. And they would do these countdowns and blast paint, and everybody would wear white. And so this festival was in Paraguay. It was with Cruella and Tiesto. And I was like one of the opening acts. And there's just something about the set I played. By the time I was done, I popped up on Instagram and I had almost like 2,500 new followers. And I had it all recorded, and I'll show you the picture after this, but it was like almost 55,000 people. And they all just came there to have a good time and really listen to what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I took them on the journey.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, festival energy is my next goal.
Yeah.
That's where I'd really like to be, is mega crowds to really play the music that I've had here and here, and to hopefully for a moment create someone's time of their life. You know, that's the next step for me, for sure.
I mean, I know that you've been working on original stuff. You've been putting out remixes too. So on a festival stage, that's where you kind of get to shine and play that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The EDC set I've listened to. You posted the mix for it. I love that mix. Actually, I've listened to it a bunch of times.
Dude, thank you. A little more chill, but I kind of had that time slot. So
I love it, man. It's still good. I'm always listening to music, obviously, with my mix show. To listen to new DJs every single week. And everybody comes with some different flavor from their region, this region, wherever they're going to be. Yeah. So it's nice to just hear new music and put new music into your library and just kind of go wherever you want with it. That could be different from them. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that's...
What about you? What's
I mean, for me, I haven't played like crazy spots and venues like that. I love playing Barstool here as far as like one of the spots that I play.
Yeah.
Man, I would say like 720 in Milwaukee is always one of like...
I never got to go in there.
Really?
I got to go check it.
It's a good time.
Still there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still the most popular spot in Milwaukee, too.
Damn.
But that's a room where it's like you can just...
That was your home.
Yeah, you can go in, so...
That was your kingdom for a while.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, being out here, I mean, I've played a lot of spots in Chicago, from like Prism to Bottle Blonde out there and Hefe and all the other spots. But
do you have a favorite
in Chicago,
or just
favorite that
Barstool's pretty damn cool?
Yeah, I mean, I love it out here. It's just it's nice because the vibe of the music that you get to play, just like I said, it fits to what I like to play.
Definitely.
and you get a different crowd basically every weekend with how tourist heavy Nashville is. It's like, it's kind of like you're traveling to play.
It's like a Vegas, to be honest.
Yeah.
I get very much of a similar, like people call it Nash Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I get a very similar feel for that because there's a strip. Everybody comes here to have a great time. I got here at 11 a.m. and everybody was drinking. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to have a beer.
Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome.
And you can do it. It's not weird. Like nobody's going to look at you funny, anything.
It was beautiful because I'm having this like fight with Miami right now. It's filled with like a lot of fake people, promoters who think they're God's gift to earth, and everybody pretending like they're someone and everybody wanting to be someone, and no one just has fun anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm having this battle with Miami right now. So I'm working on creating my own party out there to kind of bring dancing back because no one really has fun anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're at 11.
I feel like people, I mean, for the most part, clientele just all want to hear the same kind of thing too. So then that kind of hurts. And then it's like so many people just are, I don't know if it's the streaming society or whatever it is, just people having access to whatever at their fingertips where
I think it's the ego is such at play right now, and especially Miami nightlife. It's like people literally go out to buy bottles just to be seen by other people or to post it on Instagram. And I have no problem with that, but like have fun.
Yeah.
Like dance, enjoy it. Don't just sit there and like,
then sit on your phone for the next hour.
What's the point?
Yeah.
You know, like I know we all the club wants to make money and we want to have a good time, but like to me, it's not sustainable because like the nightlife and the club is really supposed to be a place where you go to let loose and have fun.
Yeah.
And feels the opposite there.
Well, we'll definitely have some fun tonight.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
I'm drinking tonight. So. I had one question for you real quick. What's a piece of advice that you would give to any of my students?
Ooh. Man,
because I want to post this on the Wired.
I think branding is a huge thing. I would say going forward with like whatever you want to do, like whether it's production, whether it's DJing, whatever avenue that you want to go down, you have to actually put in like full effort. Like,
agreed.
Do that thing like it is your 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. I know that you can get burnt out and whatever from that, but if you want to do production and you're not working a 9 to 5, make that your 9 to 5. Definitely. Allocate the hours that you're going to do to work on that. I feel like that, like scheduling myself is something that I try and work on now. Yeah. Where it's like, all right, from this time to this time, I'm going to work on music. From this time to this time, I'm going to set aside for production stuff. And I think it's so important to just kind of helping you stay on time with a task that you're doing.
Definitely, dude. Definitely.
I would say like working with the right people is a huge thing. Having the right team around you. Yes. Because no like shade to Milwaukee, but so many people in Milwaukee are just like content. Mm-hmm. They're okay with being where they're at, and whether a lot of it's in the DJ scene where it's like they're an open format DJ that's playing at these smaller bars and clubs in Milwaukee. Yep. And they're okay with that. Mm-hmm. They're okay with not growing, not learning production stuff, not becoming better as a DJ. Yeah. And I think that for me, like hanging out with a lot of those people, it became a thing where like I was okay with it. Yeah. Where I'm like, all right, cool. Like I don't need to progress and get better. Where then coming here and so many people are not only DJs, but they produce or they're a songwriter or they're a singer, where it's like, fuck, you have to do more.
100%.
And 100%. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the things too, is just
like that,
getting the right team around you and having the right people around you where you're not going to get complacent and you're going to keep grinding and working on your stuff.
Definitely. I think that's the biggest question I get is, how did you get to where you are? How do you evolve? And my biggest thing is, if you want to get to a certain space, the work has to be put in, but you also have to know exactly what it is you want. Yeah. Because if not, you spend so much time spinning your wheels in different areas, and then people get confused by the brand or what it is. And the other part, I guess, to it is, if you do want to evolve into the next space, take the jump. Yeah. I took the jump moving from Tallahassee to Miami because I knew that was a place that I had to go and try and conquer. Yeah. If I fell flat, I'd keep trying. And the other part to it is, there's going to be times where in your career, you are not accepted in certain rooms or by certain people, there's a huge club owner in Miami that didn't like me at a certain point, would kick me off the decks. And the amount of discouragement I felt at that time was huge. But I look back in hindsight and I was like, if those things didn't happen, I would not be where I'm at today, in the rooms I'm at. So the biggest part of the journey for me, and I tell my students this all the time, is that you're going to end up where you're meant to be if you're putting in the work and the time. And when someone shows you that you're not welcome there or a failure happens, that's just creating space for bigger and better things. And you have to remember that, because it's so easy to be caught up in, this is my place, this is where I'm supposed to be. Your friends are doing the same thing. And then it's like, you wake up one day and like, 5 years have gone by. What's going on?
Yeah.
You took the jump, you moved out here. And look, next step, right? For me, it was Miami. Once Miami got conquered, I was like, how do I get into Vegas? I was like, I'm taking a flight to Vegas once a month to figure out what everybody's doing. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to maybe grab a drink, shake hands, and just show people that I'm willing to be here. I want to be here. I have this young DJ right now who I've seen maybe 10 times in the past month, young guy named Martin. He's been driving from Philly all the way down the East Coast to some of my gigs, other people's gigs. And that amount of effort makes me want to book him.
Yeah.
And I did, and he crushed it. And it reminded me of the people who want to do this will put in that big effort.
Yeah.
I didn't have much money when I was flying to Vegas. I was like, I'm just going to do this once a month. And the residency happened, So I think that's the other part, is if you take that jump and really, really take the jump, like, you'll find it.
Yeah. I agree, man. I love being out here now, and it's been better for me for sure.
It's a big step, and look at it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, let me get you into this new segment. I started a couple episodes now. This is going to be a platform playlist. For you right now, you're playing at Barstool tonight. Give me your top 3 songs that you're either listening to outside of the club, the top 3 songs that you're playing in the club, or just your top 3 favorite songs right now.
That's a tough one, man. I love the Fred Again Baby Keem record.
Okay.
It's cool to hear drum and bass again, and I scratch in like Plain Jane over it, and just have acapellas going. Housewise, what do I love? This new Medusa record, I Got Nothing, has been crushing it for me.
Okay.
That's a good question. There's this Afro House remix to Bob Marley's Sun Is Shining that I just made, and it's got a lot of energy. Oh, the one that
you posted on Instagram?
Yeah, it's got a lot of energy, so that's been playing out well.
And Afro House is fucking hot right now, too.
Hot. Shameless plug.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's the kind of stuff I like. I mean, if I'm going to have a guest on here, hey, plug your shit, man.
Those are the 3 right now that I've really enjoyed.
You got to promote yourself.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, then we got your top 3 songs right now. I'm going to be able to hear you play at Barstool tonight. I've listened to a bunch of your mixes, but now I actually get to hear you live for the first time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we'll hit you with these rapid fire questions.
Cool.
What is one venue that you haven't performed at that you would like to in the future?
Ooh. I've always wanted to play at XS in Vegas or Omnia.
Okay.
Those are 2 of like...
Omnia's got the dope fucking lights and shit that come down.
That's probably the best venue ever.
Yeah.
Just every time I'm in there, I'm like, what is going on?
Just looking up at it?
Yeah.
At Barstool, the octagon above...
Does it move?
It's supposed to, yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. Has it or no? It doesn't?
No, they have like... In Scottsdale, they have shit that's on like the hydraulics like that.
Yeah.
But the one in Nashville is supposed to be like that. They're working on like getting it running too.
Sick.
I'm like, if I saw that, I feel like I would kind of freak out.
Dude, definitely.
Or it starts moving down. So
even Marquee, the ceiling comes down. I'm like, this is crazy. What's going on here?
It's wild. Yeah. What would your dream collaboration be? Obviously, right now we were talking about you working a lot on originals, pumping out a lot of remixes too. Who would be a dream collaboration for you?
That's a tough one. I love the Kind Music guys. Do you know Kind Music? They perform with the cloud over them.
Oh, I've seen them on Instagram, but
they're huge in the Afro House scene. I love Afro House.
Yeah.
It's just always been a big thing I've loved. And they actually produced a lot of Drake's The House album he did.
Okay.
Him and Gordo. I love them. In a more mainstream space, I love Chris Lake and Fisher. That'd be a dream collab too. If I were to do hip hop, I would love to work with Playboi Carti. I just love his style. probably those right there. And then on the biggest scale, a Bieber record would be cool.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with him, man.
I'm a big believer.
Yeah.
So
Hey, all his stuff works here. So
yeah, man.
I expect to hear something tonight. Then.
Definitely.
But yeah, anything else that you got that you need to put out, promote for the show?
Dude, no, I'm honestly just so happy to be a part of this, man.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing here. And ever since I did the mix on platform, I've just been a big fan of what you're doing. And I hope more DJs really understand how important it is, the work that you're doing to really push the culture and allowed us to all move to the next level.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, I mean, I love hearing from all these different DJs because everybody, their journey is always different.
Yep.
And then the direction that people want to go is always different, but it's awesome to see the insight from all these different creatives and then get it out there to other people so that way other people can relate to it too.
Knowledge is power, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learning about people's stories and how they got to where they're at or what threw them back 5 steps is what I like to learn so that I can figure out how to get to the next step too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and be on the show. If you guys are watching, make sure you guys follow him. I'll put all of his Instagram, socials, all that kind of stuff in the details at Crespo the DJ. Go check him out wherever he's at on tour. Look up his schedule. He always posted. You'll know ahead of time where to go see him.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are following the platform mix. Listen to those mix shows. They come out every Monday. New hour-long mixes from DJs all over the world. These podcast episodes come out every Wednesday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm DJ Dex. Until next Wednesday, we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Check. Mic check. 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?